Here's part four of the essay as we continue our journey, exploration of free thought, and it's called "I'm Still Searching." I recently was moved to tears watching the late astronomer and teacher Carl Sagan refer to the Earth as the pale blue dot. Seeing Earth from the hundreds of millions of miles away from the Voyager spacecraft, it's humbling. From this poignant vantage point, our obsession with nationalism is nowhere in evidence. We are too small on the scale of worlds. Humans are inconsequential, a thin film of life on an obscure and solitary lump of rock and metal. It's up to us to save ourselves. And there is no evidence that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. Now, during his last interview, May of 1996, with Charlie Rose, Carl Sagan was promoting his book, The Demon-Haunted World. The famous scientist and philosopher died a few months later of a terminal illness. On the program, Carl Sagan talked about a combustible mixture of ignorance and power being dangerous. In this increasing information age with exponential leaps in scientific knowledge, but with unfathomable ignorance about scientific thinking, there are bound to be misunderstandings which may lead to the destruction of the human race. Our minds have not kept up with technology, and to that end Sagan was extraordinarily perceptive. It is my opinion that not many of us understand the peril this is putting us in every day. It is not my intention to be playing with fire here for my own intellectual benefit, but for the elucidation of key ideas and points to bring us to a stronger agreement on what is at stake here. Growing up in a non-religious home left me hungering for a spirituality I've never had before. When I was a child, we attended the Unitarian Universalist Church for a year or two, and that was it. That was that. As an adult, before I married, I attended the Unitarian Society in Minneapolis, finding some spiritual sustenance in the breadth and the meaning of the sermons and from some fellowship. When married, I followed my wife's wishes, going to the Lutheran Church, thinking there are many ways to find spiritual salvation in what people call the wisdom and the word of the Lord. Many questions have stopped me from fully immersing myself in Christianity. Questions like, if there is a God, who created God? What about infinite space and time? What does the Bible say about space, or is it too earth-centered? Is the Bible literally stuck running in place in an anti-Copernican-like geocentrism, which waits not for the answer but for ignorant and arrogant believers? What is the purpose of life? To question with reason, or to live in happy ignorance that there is some great Santa in the sky that will save us all, that Jesus will come down during a nuclear holocaust to save us all? Is that what we believe? A good faith should not, it seems, be involved in simple-minded answers, but the awesome complexity of the stars, of time and space, and E equals mc squared. Isn't something like the Krebs cycle, the infinity of the night sky full of stars, or the miracle of photosynthesis, just as beautiful as something like Christ's face or the manger scene? Or as my friend Tom says, the growing of the corn is spiritual. In fact, this complex process of growing corn. And as my friend Tom had a talk with his brother in the cornfield about that. Very, you could call it a religious or spiritual conversation. But the wonder is science. It seems that Christianity is afraid of some of the great questions. That is what troubles me. It seems like I shouldn't be afraid to mention the name of Carl Sagan or Stephen Jay Gould in a Bible study group that truly has an open mind about spiritual exploration. There are many ways to find beauty and sublime peace of mind, including in science. One can argue that it's all about the interpretation of the Bible that's important, that it's only how we see it for ourselves. But we also have to be awake to the fact the Bible was written a long time ago and is in some sense a dinosaur, out of date, in desperate need of revision or complete refashioning. Where does the Holy Word come from? And couldn't new portions be written and edited today? Just some things to think about as we conclude part 4 of I'm Still Searching.